Welcome back to Happening to Fly Outdoors. My name is Carson, and today I'm going to be showing you the most simple and the most effective trap to put meat on the table if you're in a survival situation. So today I just got this idea off the internet, and I was watching one of David Canterbury's videos, and I was interested in one of the traps that he was using, and I want to see if we can put it to the test and see if it works well. Also, I'm going to show you how to use this trap for both when you're snaring animals or when you're trying to go fishing. And this trap overall, it works for anything. So there's only a couple of things that you need for this trap. And first of all, you're going to need some sort of wire or twine. And today I'm going to be using this high-vis orange line here today. And besides that, this is just for example purposes. I'd probably be using more of a thicker piece of nylon twine or paracord, things like that. But other than that, I also you can use a saw, you can use practically anything to cut down some trees, but I just use some garden shears. And then the three different types of toggles that you're going to be needing today is one, you're going to have a basic stake system, and then you're going to have just a simple flat top on top of the stick, and then you're going to have another piece that you're just going to have two flat parts on both sides of the stick, and that's going to act as our pillar. And the next type of stick is our bait stick or our fishing pole, and we have a flat top on here, and then we have this elongated piece here, and we have a tiny little knock on that, and that's going to help us trigger the trap, and either for snares or for fishing. All right, let's get to making this snare system, and I better hurry up before these mosquitoes eat me up and I won't have any blood left by the end of this video. So the first thing that we're going to need is a spring system, and this is a perfect branch here. It's about the same diameter of my finger. This can help us spring up or elevate some squirrels or rabbits off the ground, but also too it's perfect for fishing. So we're going to grab our twine here. So the first thing that we're going to need is our overhand knot to help us when we make our slip knot. So what's going to happen is that we are going to make a loop here. So the first thing that we're going to do is that we're going to make a bite in our line, and then what we're going to do is that we're going to grab the inside of the line here, and we're going to pull it out just like so, and then we're going to wrap this around the branch, and then with this stop knot we're going to pull down on this just like so, and then we're going to start tightening on it. And there we go. We have our nice and tight system here that this is definitely not going to go anywhere. So this is a perfect branch here. It's about the size of the diameter of my finger, perfect for rabbits and squirrels, and also for fishing purposes. Try to range around that thickness, and besides that, now let's get to the trapping system. All right, so to start setting up this trap, what we're going to do is that we're going to grab our toolkit here, and one thing I forgot to mention in the video, which is really important, is that with the stick, we actually have a notch in it. So instead we have a flat top and we have a notch. So what we're going to do is that when we put this thing down, actually the bait stick is going to be going this way instead of following the notch. So remember, it's got to be on this side or on this side, and then that's where our bait is going to go, or our rod is going to go. So we're just going to simply just start hammering this thing in the ground here. We want to make sure that it is the same height as the toolkit here. So we might want to go actually elevate this a little bit, or we're going to have to make it Alright, so our notch and our top of our bait stick is about the same height. Now, only thing we need to do is start setting up this toggle. So for setting up the toggle, we're going to have to pull all of this line that we have here down. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to tie this piece of toggle here to the branch. So we're going to have it like about that height there. So only thing that we're going to do is that we are going to make a loop just like so, make a loop within the loop. So we have a slip snare loop here. But then what we're going to do is that we're going to make it big enough that we can actually we can make a slip knot here, just like that. So we have our loop here, we have a slip knot down below. So once we have this completed, then we're going to get our toggle here, cinch down on it, and then we're just going to tighten down on it, and that is not going to go anywhere. So once we have our toggle created, we just want to make a quick knot, or like a snare knot or anything else like that, right at the tip of the toggle here. It doesn't matter what side it is. And then from there I have some line, but then I have a loop knot right at the end of it. Now what's going to happen is that we're going to put this down and we're going to put it right into the knock here. I want to make sure that's secure. And then from there we get our bait stick. Either we put bait here or we put some fishing line, and we can catch a fish there. And there we go. There's the basics of our trap. Now let me zoom it up so you can get a better look at it. So first off, we have our spring coming down to here, and we have our notch here that's preventing this toggle from flipping up. And then from there, it's just a simple pushing motion, pushing down onto it. And it goes to this stick here, which is just a simple stick with a branch hanging off from it. And then we have a notch here. Either we want to put some fishing line on it, or we could just make a stake point, and we could just have a point there, put some bait on it, and we have our snare system. Now let's go and add some line to this part here. We're going to make a loop-to-loop connection, and this is going to enable us to either go fishing with this trap, or we can snare some game animals. So the only thing that we're going to need to do now is that we need to make a loop-to-loop connection, so we need to make another loop here. We're going to make a loop, make it once, make it twice, and we're going to pull through here. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to grab our loop, other loop that's actually connected to our toggle, and we're just going to make a loop-to-loop connection. And you can find this in fishing videos and stuff like that too. And the only thing that we're going to do now is to cut a good section of line here for our snare or fishing. And what we're going to do here is going to make this loop-to-loop connection. Alright, so just like that. Loop-to-loop. Perfect. And then from there, we can do either one of two things. You can go and make a knot around this toggle here, and you can wrap it around a couple times. It doesn't need to be much. And now I'm going to hold this spring down so it just shows you slowly what the trap is, or what's going to happen here. So if a fish was going to pull on this line here connected to the toggle, it's going to lift up and then it's going to spring up. And that's exactly what's going to happen there. And I'm going to do this in slow motion. So now you got a gist on what's going to happen when we go out fishing. Now what's going to happen is that we're going to make a snare for it now. So we're going to set the trap again. We're going to pull out some line here, and we're going to cut a little bit less of a line here, so we don't need as much. And we're going to make a simple loop, another loop. We're going to be doing a lot of loops in this one. And we're going to tie it at the end of our line here. And then we're going to get our line and put it inside the loop. And then this is going to create a bigger loop for our snare system. And now, for example purposes, I'm making it extra small, just like so. But this is how it's going to work. So what's going to happen is that animal is going to come on by, and you're going to put the bait here at the end of the stick. What's going to happen is that the animal is going to take it, and lo and behold, you're going to have yourself a squirrel hanging from this branch, or you're going to have some sort of rabbit, small game animal. Doesn't matter where part of the world that you're going to be in, but you always want to make sure that your spring is about the size of your finger if you're going to be catching small game or fish. So there you go, everybody. there's the system. Alright, thank you everybody for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave it down in the comments below and I'll be sure to get back to you. And if you really enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and be sure to subscribe. Till then, I'll see everybody next time, and as always, stay wild.